Hello, my lovely Dragonites. Welcome back to another story time of my terrible online dating mishaps. I'm so sorry that I have not really posted a video in I think like 2 weeks now. That is all my fault. And again, the last video I recorded, um, it was a change in what I normally do. I was testing out to see how, if I wanted to try something different, I'm still trying to figure out how I want the channel to be presented. And I believe I'm going to stick with the art style time lapse thing. I think I'm going to stick with that. That's my strong suit. I'm not the world's best editor right now. So I'm just going to stick with what I know from here on out. So as promised, I was going to go through the polls, and the most upvoted one was how I ended up dating or seeing somebody who I later found out was on the offender list. I'm gonna put up the word so you know what it means. There it is. So this story goes back again. This actually story goes back actually to 2017, and it was on again, off again, all the way till 2018, I believe. I didn't. 2018, like no, 2019. I'm sorry, is when I found out the truth, and that's when I called it quits with him. So how we met online. This is again on part of the online dating saga. Woo! Best choices I'm making. I know. I'm sorry. Anyways, we met on Badoo again. Lovely site. And his name, we're gonna call him Nigel. Nigel's his name now. Screw it. Close enough. He was much older than me. At the time, I was, I believe, 21, and he was 30, so it's about a 9-year difference. I had just turned 21 as well, and he was turning there, and he just turned 30 at the time, I think. He was around my height, Hispanic man, long hair, tattoos, pretty scrawny dude, the usual. I have a thing for guys with long hair, okay? It's a pattern. We met on Badoo, and what started was we were talking about Marvel versus Capcom, the game. We were talking about Marvel versus DC, and then somehow we got into philosophy. I think it was because I brought up a thing about nihilism, or it was either nihilism or something to do. It was something to do with philosophy. I don't remember which one it was, but I knew it had to do with philosophy in some way. And then we had to talk about Black people, and well, that's pretty broad, but like Black people, like in the religious sense, like the Bible, where do humans originate from, where was Adam and Eve located, yada yada yada, things of that nature. So after we talked for about a couple days, we hit it off really well. So instead of just waiting a week, I decided, let's 3 days in, let's meet up, let's talk, let's do this. So we met up at a park, public park, but it was at night. Yes, I broke one of my own cardinal sins. It was at night, and the sun had just set, so it was about 7 o'clock going on 8. Live in Texas, the sun's weird here. And he had a low-rise car, I think it was a Chevy, maybe old school Chevy, something like that. At the time, I had my Nissan Pathfinder. I miss my baby. So we get to the park, and I meet him, and he is around the height that I suspected. He was 5'6". I was around 5'8". But short men are still men. I didn't care. She's cool. So we get on the swing set. We're talking more and more, again, about philosophy and politics and the prison system and the justice system. And when we brought up the prison system, he got very, very detailed. And I asked him, "You know a lot about the inner workings of the prison system. You wanna explain? Maybe he was studying to be a lawyer. I don't know. No, he was in prison. And I had asked him, why were you in jail? What happened?" And excuse me, I had to burp. He never really told me why he was in jail. He did, but it wasn't the full truth. He said something about an event that happened in his past that came by to bite him in the ass. That was what he told me. And I said, okay, that fucking sucks. He's like, yeah, I served my time, but now I'm out and about and I'm free. Okay, cool. Awesome. So a couple hours pass, and he gets a phone call from his boss, telling him to come in the night. He worked at a restaurant. He was a chef. He was a really good chef, honestly. And we cut the date short and we separated. But before we separated, I gave him a kiss on lips, I know, and I left. I went home. So the next few days, he messaged me again, telling me that he had a great time. He's been busy working overtime, over hours, blah blah blah. I said, "Hey man, no worries. You're a full grown man. You got bills to pay. Yada yada yada. Don't care." So I'm focusing back on my school stuff. I'm a freshman at this time. Around this time, this is about mid. It's like the mid towards the end of 2017. And one day he had asked me, "Hey, do you want to come by my place when you get out of class?" I said, "Sure, why not? Screw it. I have no plans today. I ain't got nothing to do." So I go to this place, which was actually around the corner of my school, surprisingly, but it's what it is. What it is. And I get there, and he told me to park in the back of the apartment complex. And I was like, all right, well, and instead of it being the front entrance where the main road is, I was in the parking lot, but I was in the back of the building, if that makes any sense. And I couldn't find it at first, but I figured it out. He comes outside wearing a wife beater, his hair is down, baggy pants. And he pulls me in the car, gives me a hug, and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" Yada yada, small talk. I had asked him, "Where do you live? You know, would it be okay if he gets to the bathroom?" Da 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 da. And he told me, that's when I found out that he doesn't live by himself. He lives with the family. All right, it makes sense. Somebody who has a police record or has a felony record or whatever, it can be hard to, find a place that will actually lend you or let you live there. So, I mean, that's how I thought. That's what I was thinking. I'm not 100%, I don't 100%, I do not know 100% if that's how it actually works when you get out of jail. I don't really know a lot of people who have been in jail, so I cannot confirm. If anybody knows, please let me know. Okay, so I can start. I go inside, I sneak in, use the restroom, come out. We continue talking, and he asked me if I wanted to go somewhere. And I said, "Yeah, I can go driving around. I'm on a full tank of gas. I'm bored. Let's go." So we're driving around, and we ended up going back to the park, surprisingly, and just walking and talking, walking and talking. And he asked me questions about my previous relationships. I explained to him how it worked. And he asked me what I wanted. I told him I want something long term, but I'm not in a rush to jump in and be with somebody right out the gate. Because I just moved. At this point, I had just moved to Houston about 4 months beforehand. So I really wasn't looking for anything at this time. But if something came my way, that's fine too. So we kind of agreed on that one. And he has said that he really liked me, da 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 da. And I had asked him, about his history. But again, that got cut short because he got called for something. I think his folks were calling for him, so I had to drive him back and left. Didn't hear from him for a week or two. Then I go back to his place, and it was a random drive-by, and he wasn't there. And I tried calling him, texting him. Didn't hear anything for, I think, like a month from him after that. After those 2 weeks I didn't hear from him, it was about a month, so like a month and 2 weeks I didn't hear from him. And I just kind of figured, maybe he ghosted me, da da da. It happens with online dating. No, after that month period, he messaged me back. He called me actually, and he said, "Hey, can we talk?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" So I go meet him at his job, and he gave me cheesecake. It was so good. I had asked him what happened. Thought you ghosted me. And he said, "No, something came up. It was pretty important. I don't want to get into it right now." Blah blah blah. So that was a red flag for me. And I was like, you could have said something. Your phone is in your pocket at all costs. You could have just sent a simple text. You don't have to just pretend like I don't exist. But whatever, you're not my boyfriend, I'm not your girlfriend. It is what it is. This is not that serious. So after we talked a little bit, I got to make sure his cake. I was in a better mood. He became more flirtatious, and he had asked me if I wanted to be his girlfriend. I said, "Well, I'm not sure." At this point, and I told him that you'd have to meet my folks because my family is very old school, not traditional, they're old school. They always want to meet the person I'm seeing because my parents, they know more. They're better at judging character than I am most of the time. So they want to see the person, so that way if something goes wrong, they know who to freaking kill. So military parents, what are you gonna do? And I explained this to him, and he actually got offended and told me, "Why would I have to see your parents? I don't want to date you. I'm not doing anything with them, doing things with you." And I explained to him that my parents are protective. They've always been protective of me like that. I'm their oldest, so yeah, they're gonna be protective no matter who you are. They don't give a fuck. And you have quite a few years on me, so they would see it as a concern thing, as an older person going after a younger person. It could actually be love, or it could be a manipulation tactic. They don't want that from me. And he, we talked about it a little bit. He was still offended. He went home. I went back to my place. He called me that night saying, "Hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to come out like that. Blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine." So I think at this point, we were talking for about 3 months, and we were unofficially official, if that makes any sense. I would go to his place and frequently, and we would hit it off more ways than one. We'd watch movies together. We would go on dates, and we would play video games together. Things like just the cute little romantic relationship stuff. I one day, I don't know why I just remember this made me think. One day his dad came home, and his stepdad came by the house, and I didn't know who it was, so I freaked out. I hid behind the door like a freaking idiot. And the stepdad noticed my dress underneath the door. Mind you, this dress was huge. It was a big South African dress, and it was actually a skirt, really. And it was had this beautiful, colorful pattern. It was like red and gold and yellow and orange. It was beautiful. And he saw it, and he was speaking to me in Spanish. I'm not fluent in Spanish, but I know just enough to piece together a conversation. And basically, he told me that I was a tall, thick Amazon woman, and he was trying to hit on me. And then he asked me if I had any friends who he could talk to. I told him no, no, and no. Like, no, no, that should have been the first sign. But then, no, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. So after that moment, me and Nigel, I forgot the name I gave him. Me and Nigel actually sat down and had a conversation outside, because I had asked him, what's the status at the house? Found out that it's a long family history. Not gonna put put that much of his dirty laundry out there, not that much. So I went home a little grossed out because the stepdad would not stop looking at me. I didn't like it, and he didn't help either. He kept looking at me too, and I was just like, "Would you stop?" Uh, he had sent me a text when I got home asking me if I wanted kids. And at that point, I knew that I should probably get out as soon as possible. But I didn't completely get out yet, though. Like, I told him we should take it slow. Don't want no kids. I know you're at that age where you want kids. I'm nowhere near that age. So we're going to need to wrap the willy so we won't be fucking silly. And he agreed. After that, I didn't really sleep with him for a while. If you didn't get the hint, yes, we were having sex before that. But at this point, I didn't fucking know yet. So I went back to his place. This is about 6 months in at this point. He was feeling depressed, and me knowing what that's like, I went to his place and I spoke to him and said, "Hey, what's going on?" He gave me this notebook, this journal he had, and I read it, and it was poems in there, and the poems were really good. They told a story, blah blah blah, and the stories were all about how he was assaulted as a child. He was touched as a kid. And oddly enough, if I remember correctly, he was at a Catholic church, like not Catholic church, but a Catholic, a religious summer camp. There you go. I don't remember if it was Catholic or Christian or Baptist. It was one of the summer camps you go to when you're a kid in this religious place. It was one of them. And that's when he told me he explained to me how he was touched multiple times by different people, blah, 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 blah. And he said that's why he thinks he's fucked up in the head. And at that point, again, I didn't get the fucking hint. I didn't get what she was trying to tell me. So I explained to him that, I'm not unfamiliar to that happening as a child and a teen. I'm not unfamiliar to that, but, whatever happened in the past, you have to accept that it happened and move forward. You can't just, you can't just think about it. Writing it down, sure, could help, but if you constantly go back to it, it's going to cause problems. And I explained this to him. He agreed and he said, "Oh, I'm so glad you're in my life. You understand me, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "You know what? I'm glad I'm here to help you because I know you need it. You need that. You need to hear that. So after that, I went home again. I didn't hear from him for like 2 months after that. And I was a little worried, but then I was like, you know, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I have shit to do. I have commissions to work on. I have freelance I have to work on. I have homes I have to work on. Fuck it. He had called me out of the blue one day, and it was in the middle of my class actually. I had picked up the phone. And I said, "Hey, what's up?" And he said, "Can we talk? It's important. I think you should know something." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm in class. When I can come by your place, after class?" He said, "Sure, sure, whatever." So I go by his place, and I pulled up in the front, and he told me, he said, "I don't want you to think of me differently." And I was like, "All right, what's happening?" So we started walking around the neighborhood holding hands, and I asked him, "What happened?" He said, "Well, he said, I was in prison in a holding cell trial thing. Like, he wasn't necessarily in jail, but he was on trial, or he was like in the holding cell for the trial, but it was like 2 month period. So instead of it being the next day, yeah, it was like that." And I explained to him, what the fuck did you do? And he said, "Well, it was something from the past." And I was like, what happened in your past that constantly keeps coming out? What the fuck happened? And he told me that I dealt with a girl. And I said, "What the fuck?" And once he said a girl, I immediately began to piece it together, like what was going on. He told me that the girl was, he said the first time was a false allegation. The girl was, not a false allegation, but it was, the girl, I killed a mosquito, sorry. The girl lied about her age. She had a fake ID and other fun stuff. In my mind, I was like, okay, wait a minute. The first time? So this happened more than once? You like, okay, she faked her ID and it looked legit to you. Mind you, I have no record of this case, so I have no way of knowing if it actually did like a fake ID, if you're just pulling that of his ass. I have no idea. So if she did it, that's fucked up. But if she didn't do it, what the fuck? Either way, I feel bad for this poor kid. Okay, she was 17, 15 when it happened. She was taken advantage of, and this is not okay on any level. And she, and then when I asked him, "What the fuck do you mean by first time?" He said, "Well, the second time it happened." I was like, "How the hell do you fuck up twice?" The second time, he knew the girl's age. This girl was 15, and he started sleeping with her when she was 16, and maybe a little before that. I had looked at him and said, "What the actual?" He told me that the reason why they got close in the first place was because she was coming from an abusive household, and like his brother was friends with her family, and the brother was like the godchild to her, so he wanted to take her in and get her from the family. I was like, okay, cool, that's a pretty wholesome thing to do. And then at the time, Nigel was living with his brother, not at home, and brother and Nigel got close to the girl. He would hang out with her. At first, he said he saw his little sister, so he needed to protect. Okay, cool. But as time progressed, aka a fucking year, he began to get sexually attracted to her, and then they had sex on more than one occasion. Then I asked him, "How old were you?" And he said this happened 3 years ago. I was like, "I'm fucking sorry. That means you were like what, 27, 28? What the hell, man?" And I'm like, "Wait, how is this case coming up now? Wait, what happened?" So he didn't tell me the whole story of the case. Once he told me that, I looked at him just like, what, what, I, what the actual fuck, my dude? Like, I have no words for this. So at this point, we had already walked from the neighborhood to my car, and I just said, I gotta go home. He said, "It's okay if you don't want to talk to me again." And I just looked at him just like, I am dumbfounded. I don't know what to say. I'm so confused. I was speechless because the whole time I was seeing somebody who was on the offender list and I did not know, and it made me feel grossed out and very upset. And then it made me realize certain things he had said kind of made started to piece together a little bit. The whole one him thinking I was younger than freaking 21. He thought I was freaking 17. That should have been a red flag right there. The fact that he says he likes them young, that should have been another red flag right there because he was only 30. That's already fucking young. That's not old yet. So it, yeah, it didn't end well. He tried messaging me again after that frequently. He still had my numbers. I never changed it. I got rid of his number, and he called me at work a couple times. He tried to FaceTime me, and I'm just like, what do you want, my guy? Leave me alone. It got to the point where I had to stop going to the same restaurant that he worked at. And one day I went to the restaurant. I completely forgot about that he existed. And he got transferred to another restaurant in another part of the city. I don't know where it is now, but I don't want to like I don't want to find out. I don't want to know where it is. So yeah, moral of the story: before you date somebody, do a fucking background check. Hell, for my current boyfriend, before I started dating him, I ran his name through the offender list just to be safe because I'm not going through that shit again. So yeah, just background checks are nice. They're not only for guns and other weapons, they're also for fucking predators. Okay, I think that's it for the night. It's 3:54 in the morning. I have editing to do after this video. So the lockdown is easing up. Stay safe, my lovelies. Please, mask, sanitizer, wash your hands even after the pandemic is over, whenever the fuck that's gonna be. So, see you later. I'm drained. Good night.